guys, welcome back to the channel where I cover missing persons, unsolved cases, crime news, and more. Well, this past weekend, human remains were discovered in an area in Palm Bay, Florida, known as the Compound, and that led them to the guy on your left. That is Lucas Jones. He's 19 years old, and he left some evidence in one of the suitcases. There was two. He left an Amazon package in there with his home address. So not the brightest crayon in the box, or the brightest criminal out there, but also he doesn't seem to have any real history either. When law enforcement interviewed Lucas Jones's girlfriend, she told them that she saw the guy to your right at her boyfriend's home, and well, investigators, they started to piece things together. Here is a news piece from WKMG Click Orlando News 6.
Human remains found in suitcases in a blighted part of town that's infamous for finding dead bodies. I'm your Palm Bay community correspondent, James Sparvero. There's a new homicide under investigation in Palm Bay's Compound. Around 10 in the morning Saturday, police say someone saw vultures swarming an open suitcase here in this tall grass.
No return to the compound.
By Sunday, 19-year-old Lucas Jones was at the Brevard County Jail facing Judge George Polk on charges like abusing a dead body. Police say they linked Jones to the remains because inside the suitcase there was also a package with his name on it. Police then linked Jones to a man who's been missing from India Atlantic. Police told me they're waiting on autopsy results to confirm if the remains are his. That's why I'm not saying his name right now.
All due respect to WKMG and this reporter, I think they're not saying his name because he's also a pedophile. Yeah, he's a pedo. But we're gonna not Jones, who was arrested, a 19-year-old, the potential victim, and I put that in air quotes, that was found in these suitcases. He is on the FDLE sexual offender registry.
But according to Jones's girlfriend, she told police she saw that man at Jones's house back on March 20th lying in Jones's bed, either sleeping or unconscious. The next day, the 21st, Jones's girlfriend said he told her to drive him to the compound where he threw 2 containers out of the car. Police say one of those suitcases also had a knife in it, and that same type of knife was found at Jones's house, where police also found bloodstains. Jones was released from jail, but police are still building their case. If more charges are brought against him, we'll update you right here on News 6.
All right, so yeah, the Compound is an area that is like in between a lot of other residential areas in Palm Bay. There's been a number of bodies dumped there. You can see it's, like I said, it's very like grassy, high grass, and also there have been folks using it out there for drag racing, parties, what have you. But a lot of not so good stuff happens at the Compound. Again, there was a remains found at the Compound, which is a area of Palm Bay that is very open. I'm going to show a few pictures here. It is a undeveloped, like over 2,700 acre area. It's like about 2 miles long. That basically nothing is happening out there. It is apparently privately owned, but things happen there that are not the good stuff. And like I said, there have been other human remains found, like they stated in the news piece, at this location. Now, this guy, obviously, he's not a very good criminal, and I did look up his history, okay? I looked up his background to see what sort of stuff, this young kid may be into. And you know what? Lucas Jones, pretty much all he had, at least on Brevard's records, where he seems to reside, is all traffic infractions. So I don't see any crazy, criminal stuff coming out of this 19-year-old Lucas Sander Jones. However, that all changes when we are speaking about the potential alleged victim, as they're calling him, which I guess even if he's a pedo, he's still a victim. His mother reported him missing back on March 22nd, and I know at least a couple Facebook pages also had a missing poster. I I tell you, if I knew that it was a pedo missing, I don't think I'd want to be helping out. But again, to each his own. But he has quite the history as far as his crimes, and I'm going to pull that up momentarily because again, I like to do a lot of background stuff on this stuff on these cases a bit. But he was found in these between these two suitcases, which leads me to believe he was in more than one piece. I guess to put it mildly. I'm actually kind of surprised that Jones is not being charged with the big M at this point, murder. But considering this dude's past, this 28-year-old Mr. Pedo Daniel, I wouldn't be surprised if this happened stature as a sexual offender. But again, like the girlfriend stated in the news piece, she saw Daniel, this 28-year-old, she saw him at her boyfriend's home back on March 20th. He was either passed out asleep or I guess he could have been dead at that point. And then the next day, her boyfriend, Lucas Jones, asked her to drive him to this huge acre compound location where she did see him discard containers and other items. Well, Jones is, like I said, I can't say he's necessarily an awful human if he had some really good reasons, like if this guy came on to him, he did something to a loved one, what have you. So I am curious about his motives and all that sort of stuff, how this all came to happen. But he left an Amazon package in one of the suitcases. I mean, come on, man. You know, I mean, it's bad enough he left a knife in there, but it's like he just left his identification right in the suitcase. It just led the cops right to him. You know, maybe he figured it was going to happen, so he just made it easier. I don't really know. So again, they have a lot of proof that he was there, not only with the suitcases and the Amazon package and the knife. They found blood stains and a knife similar to the other one that was recovered in one of the suitcases inside of Lucas's home. So Lucas Jones was pretty much, he was caught. Let's put it that way. So he was arrested over this past weekend on March 28th. His charges at this point consist of abuse of a human dead body, tampering with evidence, and improper disposal of human remains. You have to wonder, what is the proper way to dispose of human remains? I don't know. I just find sometimes our laws are just so, I don't know, they're just so funny. But he did make his bail, so he's actually out as of Sunday evening. He's out. I believe he's with his mom or his family. But again, I would like to know, how these two met up. How did they come across each other? Jones is 19. The alleged victim, pedo, he's 28. So where and how would these two individuals cross paths? I mean, granted, they all live in the same area in the Indian Atlantic, but how did they cross paths? So this is why there's a lot more that I'm going to be looking into as far as this is concerned. So this is the FDLE's website. Obviously, you can look up registered sexual offenders and predators in the state of Florida. Okay? As soon as I put in Collie Lee Daniel into my Google search bar, this is the first result that came up. So that was very good news as far as that's concerned. So it is very easy to search for pets in your area. Obviously, if you've got children, this was not a guy you want around. Okay, he has been he was released. It shows his status was released. Obviously, he has to register anywhere he goes, so he was free as a bird, so to speak, and he was out and about. And then his mom, I guess, didn't see him after March 22nd, and well, she put out a missing persons alert for him through law enforcement, and like I said, there were missing person flyers for him, which, you know, I don't know. I'd rather be looking for, others than a pedophile, but hey. And of course, there is his address and such, because when you are a registered sexual offender, privacy is gone. Okay, you're going to be registered, and people are going to know where you live and all that. So, and he has been registered since 12/7 of 2023. Okay, so here are his some of his crimes here. All right, in 10/29 of 2018, lewd or lascivious battery with a victim 12 to 15 years of age. Okay, and then on March 30th of 2021, he was a sexual offender, failed to not register. I'm assuming here. Let me see if we can click on some of these here. All right, so here is what the first one means from 2018. This is what he was charged with. The Florida statute, the 800, .04. The lewd or lascivious offenses committed upon or in presence of persons less than 16 years of age. It says coercion means use of exploitation, bribes, threats of force, or intimidation to gain cooperation or compliance. So again, this is all about acts committed upon or in the presence of a child under 16 years of age, between 12 and 15. So I'm going to look further into what exactly happened, but this gives us an idea, like, what kind of disgusting person he truly is. And then his other charge back in 2021, and there you go, sexual offenders, they're required to register, and he did not register as a sexual offender. So that was another charge that he picked up back in March of 2021. And it looks like, of course, they list all the other stuff here. He's been known to drive in a white Elantra, Hyundai Elantra. But again, I have a hard time. I don't know about you guys. I have a very hard time feeling sorry for Kali Lee Daniel. Granted, we don't know what the circumstances were, what occurred between Daniel and this other guy. We don't know what occurred between these two individuals, and between him and Lucas Jones. So we're gonna definitely figure that out. So what did occur? What happened between Lucas Jones and Kali Daniels? What happened? It obviously happened this month, because his girlfriend, the one that's being charged presently and who's still alive and all, she saw this pedo. Again, I don't even know if she knew who he was exactly, but she saw him passed out at her boyfriend's home. So I am very interested to find out what the story is between these two. I truly am. But the compound, well, I mean, I guess that's an easy dumping site, really. That's the bottom line. It's an easy dumping site if you need to get rid of something like a dead pedo, But I don't know, guys. What do you think? I mean, first of all, we have another case of using a suitcase. But in this case, it seems like he was put into the suitcases after he was dead. But we've seen suitcases used a number of times in crimes. You know, whether they were used to actually kill the person, as in Sarah Boone, or to, dispose of remains. I mean, we've seen suitcases used all the time. So I guess that's a convenient way to transport a dead body. I don't know. So, but yeah, I'm going to keep track of this one. I'm curious what you guys' thoughts are. So let me know in the comments. And with that said, I hope you have a great rest of the day. And most of all, stay safe.